Good morning, Fountain Middle School students and staff. This is Mr. Gasser. I am the sixth grade assistant principal here at Fountain Middle School. I hope that everybody's had a great couple days trying to learn the new remote learning platforms, Zoom and Schoology, and I hope they've gone as smoothly as they possibly can. Today, one of the things I wanted to touch base on was some of the Zoom etiquette that we have. We've been using Zoom quite a bit lately for all of our classroom meetings. So I just want to go over some of the expectations that we have when we're in those situations. We've outlined them with the pride expectations: persevere, respect, integrity, discipline, and effort. So we're going to go through these really quickly here, just so we're all on the same page as far as how we should be presenting ourselves in these types of meetings. So for persevere, it says, I'll attend all my classes for the whole class period. You are expected to be in your class from the very beginning to the very end when your teacher dismisses you. We should not be just turning off our computer screens and turning off our microphones, because then we have no real indication whether or not you're actually present in class or you're engaged in the activities that we're doing. So if you are turning off your cameras and your microphones, don't be surprised if your teachers start calling on you directly to ask a question or sending you some of those chat messages just to make sure that you're still there and paying attention. If you're not responding to those, that's a pretty good indication that you have left that time and you left class early, and that will be marked as absent in your attendance. So make sure that we're just there the entire class period. Make sure we're staying on task and on topic when speaking and using the chat. So keep in mind, the chat feature is there as a direct communication line with the teacher. You can ask questions, the teacher can respond to those. The teacher may even ask you some questions that you're supposed to respond to as well. So make sure we're not using that to talk to other students or make comments or pose funny jokes during those times. Make sure we're only using that chat feature for the educational purpose that it's there for. Another part of staying on task is refraining from using your phones. Just like in a classroom, we would expect you to have your phones put away when the teacher is instructing. The same applies for Zoom meetings. So make sure we're putting our phones away. We're not texting. We're not making phone calls or taking pictures or videos, things like that. So just be mindful of that and make sure we're staying on task by keeping those distractions put away. The next thing, participate when asked. So your teacher is going to be asking you questions. To your best ability, make sure you're responding to those. If your microphone's not working for some reason, use the chat feature to respond to those things as well. We have both of those options. Finally, before we move on to respect, again, kind of going back to that staying on task piece, we have 15 minutes built in between each session. Please use that time to handle those personal needs that come up, such as leaving to get a drink of water or grabbing a snack or using the restroom. Those 15-minute blocks are a perfect time to handle those needs. So keep that in mind when we get back into the groove of things today, to use those 15 minutes wisely. Next thing here is respect. Only have your name or appropriate nickname on the screen. So under all your faces in the meetings, make sure that it's actually your name. This is going to help teachers a lot, make sure they know who you are when they're able to put that name with a face. Work to not interrupt classmates when speaking. Make only respectful comments in the chat. Again, that chat feature should only be used to ask questions or answer questions. Be mindful of your surroundings. This is a big one. So when you're in a Zoom meeting, I would highly recommend that you have a flat, plain colored wall behind you to the best of your ability. We don't need inappropriate posters or a whole bunch of things going on in the background of your screen, because that's just going to distract other students. Make sure things like radios, Bluetooth speakers, TVs, things like that are turned off during your meetings, because that sound just goes right through the computer and the whole class hears it and it drowns out the teacher. So make sure those things are off as well when we're thinking about our surroundings. Last thing for respect, keep your microphone muted unless you're speaking. That extra noise that's in our houses really can be distracting and really takes over an entire Zoom meeting if you're not muted. So when you're not talking, you can put your microphone on mute. Quick shortcut, so if a teacher does call on you and you're muted, if you hold down the space bar, it turns that muting feature off for as long as you're holding it, kind of like a walkie-talkie would work. When you're done answering, let go of the space bar and you'll go right back to being muted. Integrity. Make sure we're using our technology appropriately, turn in your work only, and make sure you're following those classroom procedures that your teachers have outlined. For discipline, come prepared with your materials. Remove any potential distractions. So this is a big one. I touched on phones earlier, but keep in mind, since we're at home, things like stuffed animals, games, your pets, and even siblings can be very distracting. So make sure you are moving those things out of the room that you're in just to alleviate some of those distractions and make sure you're 100% focused on what we're supposed to be doing. Attend class on time. I touched on being in your classroom from start to finish. But what it means to be on time is when your scheduled time is there to start, you should be already in class. So for example, excuse me, today is Thursday. So we're in our advisory class. We should be there at 8:45. Now, technology can be a little bit finicky sometimes. So I would definitely recommend trying to start log into your first class 5 minutes before you're supposed to be there. That way, if your internet is being slow, gives it plenty of time to make sure that you arrive in class right when that class is supposed to start. If you are 10 minutes late, you will be considered absent for that class. So make sure we're just really getting ahead of that and trying to get into those classes early rather than being marked absent and not being able to get there in time. Make sure your laptop is charged. We don't want you running around your house trying to find a plug to plug in your laptop. You should be ready to go, prepared for class that day. And then lastly, make sure you're taking care of your laptops. If you are running into any technology issues, our ER is available to you. So just make sure you're reaching out to the school and we can help you make an appointment for those. Effort. Complete and turn in your assignments. Ask for help when you need it. Again, you can use that chat feature, or there's even little hand raising features in Zoom as well. And make sure you're meeting the assigned deadlines. There are due dates. We do have to get our work in. There's more accountability this year, so make sure we're staying up with the work that needs to get done. With that, that concludes my quick Zoom etiquette overview. If you do have any questions about that, myself or any of your teachers will be happy to answer any of those questions for you. With that, I hope you have a great day. If you would please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you and have a great day.